Hey everybody, Dieter Kurtenbach here in Oakland. Warriors lose again. This is starting to become a thing. I'm starting to think that they're not going to go 74-8 this year. Lose 111-102 to the Detroit Pistons in Michigan. Interesting game, not necessarily the most attractive game to watch, but the Pistons are a good team, so you don't want to put too much stock in the Warriors' loss because more than anything else from this game, we will remember that Stephen Curry came back. He is back in the Warriors lineup. That means the Warriors can get back to doing what it is they were doing before he got injured, which many would allege was ruining the NBA. That's the first thing. Let's talk about Stephen Curry's return. There was a lot of rust on old Wardell in this game. Moments where he just didn't look like himself, and that was to be expected. You cannot expect a guy like Stephen Curry to be on the shelf for more than a month and for him to just come back in and be the unbelievable world beater that he is. He was good, don't get me wrong. 27 points, a quiet 27, if that's a thing that's possible in this day and age. 10 of 21 from the floor, 3 of 9 from 3. He got a little bit better as the game went on. You could see it start to click for him. But again, moments like Kevin Durant passing him the ball after Steph slipped a screen, he's wide open and he just can't pull the trigger. That's stuff that doesn't happen to Stephen Curry when he is at 100%. He looked healthy. He played, 37 minutes? No issues with the health. A little bit of rust has to come off. He'll get plenty of opportunity coming up here to do that. The Warriors get the Hawks, and then they get the Cavs, which that used to be a thing. Now it's just an easy win before playing the Milwaukee Bucks, which would be a really good game next week. But Steph, a little bit rusty. The Warriors, though, and this is the second thing, I thought the Warriors did a really nice job of not having too much dichotomy in their offense. So often, since Kevin Durant has showed up to Golden State, we've seen somewhat of a conflict. Durant is this incredible individualist, this impossible-to-stop one-on-one player, and then there is the Steph system, which is a more free-flowing, kumbaya, everyone touches the ball 2 or 3 times, we're going to work the entire shot clock, we're going to just play beautiful basketball. Jogo Bonito. The Warriors were just playing the latter the entire game. There wasn't the Durant's post-ups and ISO ball stuff. Durant was within the system. He played exceptionally, as per usual, 28 points, 9 of 19 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3, which, not great, but sometimes the ball doesn't fall in from 3. That is 3-point regression. This is how everybody else in the NBA lives. The Warriors are going to have to be on the other end of it at some point, right? Durant plays well, but it was the flow. I thought that everything was clicking. You can see this team getting back into the best version of itself with Stephen Curry on the floor. The problem is, and this is number 3, the bench is not doing much, if anything. Andre Iguodala is an exceptional defensive player that cannot be disputed. Sean Livingston, a tremendous player in his own right. But both of those guys have taken steps back this season, and I don't expect this to just be an early season blip that is eradicated as the year continues. They don't look like the same versions of themselves from years past. And that is, again, to be expected. These are veterans. They have put on a lot of miles. It is not a drastic drop. They're not going to leave the league anytime soon. But still, a little bit counts when you have a roster that is so top-heavy. And when you sign DeMarcus Cousins to your mid-level exception, you are basically saying we are going to be full top-heavy, and you're not going to have much of a middle class. The 2 middle-class guys on this team are Iguodala and Livingston, and they're just not getting the job done. And the Warriors really need them to come through, because if Steph isn't going off on one night, if Durant is shooting 1 for 7 from 3, Klay Thompson still hasn't found out where he fits in on this team as it's currently constructed yet. It's a lot of mid-range. He just doesn't look like Klay yet. It will come because it's Klay, and he's an all-time great player, or an all-time great shooter at least. At the same time, it hasn't worked through 24 games for Klay. It just hasn't come together, save for that one game against Chicago, and we don't have to get into how I think the competition of the Chicago Bulls isn't exactly a good barometer. The middle class isn't there. Jonas Jerebko's been really good, but he got played off the court by the Pistons. They're just too big. The center position is really rough. Damian Jones got a shoulder injury. We do not know the extent of that shoulder injury. It could be miss a practice. It could be miss a month. We'll find out sooner rather than later. But he had played so up and down in this game, and that was a bad continuation of the poor play that he's put on the court for the majority of the last couple of weeks. He was any other team, he'd probably have worked his way to the end of the bench, but the Warriors believe in him. They have already, he's under contract for next year. He's the only center under contract for next year. So they want him to be the best version of himself. And Kevin Durant was spoon-feeding him baskets in this game. But the center position's really rough. Outside of Kevon Looney, Jordan Bell, another up-and-down game, a spectacular moment followed by a low light. And with Draymond Green still sidelined and the Warriors not really knowing when they're going to get him back, there's a big issue at center. There's a big issue in the fact that Livingston and Iguodala are not contributing as much as you would expect them to contribute on the offensive end. And Jonas Jerebko's a good player, but he's not a guy that you should really be relying on night in, night out to get you 10, 15, 20 points as he got the other night. He's a nice role player, but he can't be a guy who carries the burden. The Warriors' second unit really needs to start developing an identity. That cannot happen until everyone gets into the fold. Perhaps that guy is DeMarcus Cousins, coming off the bench or being staggered to where he can be the anchor of the second unit. Give the Warriors a little bit of extra punch because you know that when the 5 best are on the court together, there's no one in the NBA that can play with them. Heck, even the 4 best, no one in the NBA can play with them. But when they're, all they need to do is tread water with that second unit, and right now they're just not getting it done. Something to keep an eye on as the weeks progress. A lot of basketball to be played. We still know that the Warriors are the favorite in this whole thing. Stephen Curry is going to get back to his norm. Kevin Durant is still incredible. Klay Thompson is going to find his game. Draymond Green is going to come back sometime soon, but doesn't look all that great right now. And in the present moment, well, that's kind of what we got to talk about, right? Warriors will play the Hawks next. That might be a game that everyone gets back on track. Hopefully, for the Warriors at least, because if you can't beat the Hawks, you got some real problems. We will talk after that game.